The Monsters of Hits, today on Sunday Baseball. Once again, it's Sunday Baseball. Here's Indy Nidell. You know monsters, Larry?
I do know monsters, Indy.
Well, today, we're gonna talk about monsters.
Monsters of rock!
No.
Monsters of Tijuana Brass.
No, Swedish Knock Knock Girl, although right now I am very much regretting not writing an episode about Monsters of Tijuana Brass. But today, we're going to talk about Monsters of Hits.
But Herb Alpert had loads of hits. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-da.
Yes, he did, Larry, and so did a few baseball players. Now, getting 200 hits in a season has always been considered like a mark among marts, a real milestone. Steve Garvey in the 70s, for example, used to stencil 200 onto his glove because that was his goal, year in, year out, 200 hits, and he was good enough to do that 6 times in his career. Of course, some players are not going to get 200 hits in a season because they walk too much. Babe Ruth, for example, only topped 200 hits 3 times in his career, even though he was hitting as high as 393 and winning a batting title. But he simply walked too much, and there weren't enough at-bats left in the season for him to reach 200. But if you look at the guys who managed to top 200 hits 8 times or more in a career, you get a pretty star-studded lineup. The first guy who managed to do this was Willie Keeler, who did it 8 times in a row from 1894 to 1901. Now, seasons back then were only 130 games compared to 162 games today, which makes this extra impressive. Keeler's best mark was 239 hits in 1897 when he had a batting average of .424.
Wow.
Keeler didn't walk very much, but neither did he strike out. In fact, in 1899, he struck out exactly twice in 633 plate appearances, which is still very much a record.
Knock, knock.
That's not Willie Keeler.
Who's there?
Willie.
Willie who?
Will he be able to survive the gunfight? Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Keeler.
Keeler who?
Kill or be killed. That's his motto.
That was okay.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah. The next 2 guys to do this were Paul Waner and Lou Gehrig, or rather, Big Poison and the Iron Horse. Now, Waner and Gehrig were exactly the same age, and both of them accomplished this between 1927 and 1937. Waner in the National League and Gehrig in the American League. Waner's often forgotten today, but he hit .333 lifetime, won 3 batting titles and an MVP award, hit as high as .380, and was a doubles and triples machine, leading every other player from his generation in both categories.
He was also a famous drunk.
He was. In fact, once a manager found a bottle of booze in the dugout and said, "Waner, is this bottle yours?" And Paul said, "I don't know. Is there anything left in it?" The manager said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, then it ain't mine."
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Paul.
Paul who?
Please, this one is just too easy.
And too bad so far.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Waner.
Waner who?
When are you gonna realize I'm a genius?
I don't know. When are we? Gehrig, unlike the others, walked all the time, but since he played in over 2,000 consecutive games, he was also at bat all the time. Derek Jeter has had 200 hits 8 times, most recently in 2012 when he led the league with 216 hits. Now, he's been on the disabled list, but if he comes back healthy and strong, say next year, he could join Sam Rice as the only 40-year-olds ever to have 200 hits in a season. The great Ty Cobb topped 200 hits 9 times, on his way to 11 batting titles and a .366 lifetime batting average, which is the highest all time, and over 4,000 career hits. Only 2 players in history have topped 200 hits 10 times in a career. One of these is the still active and dangerous Ichiro Suzuki, who did it 10 times in a row from when he entered the major leagues, including the all-time record 262 hits in the year 2004. Now, Suzuki entered the major leagues at the age of 27, but he had been a big star in Japan before that, so he could have actually done it a couple of other times had he played earlier. The other player on this list is Pete Rose, who could not sing especially well.
There's something about Aqua Velva.
He wants to be cool and refreshed.
There's something about Aqua Velva. A man wants to feel like a man.
Feel like a man.
'Cause there's something about an Aqua Velva man.
Was that Vic Tayback?
It was indeed. Actually, funny thing, Rose would have probably had 11 200-hit seasons, but the 1981 strike cut short the season, and Rose ended up leading the league with 140 hits in 107 games. There's only one active player who really seems to have a chance to join this club, and this is Michael Young, who has 6 200-hit seasons, and the most recent one was only 2 years ago, so Keep an eye on him. Among active players, Juan Pierre has 4, and Miguel Tejada and Alex Rodriguez have 3 each. So you can see how hard it is to get 200 hits in a season, even in a 162-game schedule.
So that's all for the Monsters of Hits.
And we'd like to close with a tune I hope you're familiar with. It's entitled Spanish Flea.
We'll see you all next week with more Sunday Baseball. For more episodes, cool trivia, and updates, like Sunday Baseball on Facebook.